Well, my name's Aidan O'Rourke, and I teach languages, and I take photographs and write articles, and currently building a YouTube channel. Might talk a little bit about that later. But I'm first generation Irish. My parents came from Southwest Ireland, County Limerick. I grew up in England. So as a child, I had a bit of a identity crisis because on the one hand, I was living in England, but on the other hand, I was the child of Irish parents. So that was a kind of part of my psyche, is this dilemma of am I English? Am I Irish? When I went to Ireland, I didn't feel like I could have an English accent. I wanted to be like them, but then I thought I wasn't. So that caused not problems, it's just part of my identity. And then I got interested in languages, and then I studied them at school, did A-level German, French, and then I went to Trinity College Dublin because I'd been there on holiday. So I had a taste of, studying at a top European university, living in a European capital. I thought it's great. I saw many of the positive aspects of the EU, and it was the early days. I was there 76 to 81. So it was the early days of Irish membership, because Ireland joined same year, 73. So then I went on, and what's next? Oh, yes. Yeah, so during my year abroad, I went to Berlin. I was fascinated with Berlin and the vision of Germany. And what I saw there, what I experienced coming face to face with East Germany. I never actually lived in East Germany, but I lived in West Berlin and visited East Berlin a lot, and went to East Germany 3 times, went to Poland twice. Also, later I went to Czechoslovakia. So I saw borders in action, and I saw tyranny in action. And there was a comment that was in earlier, a guy mentioned tyranny, relating it to the EU. Well, that makes me very, very angry, because I've experienced tyranny at first hand. And I rode on that train through East Germany, from West Germany, the transit train, which I'm going to write about soon. And that is tyranny. A country, a continent divided, and a whole population not allowed to leave. Or if they do try and leave, then they'll be shot. And I have some friends also from East Germany with first-hand experience of all that. So I know all about borders. So that's something I followed. And I felt a great solidarity with the dissidents in Germany and in other parts in Poland as well. And so then, of course, then I went to taught abroad. I taught in the Middle East, I've taught in Hong Kong. So I've got experience in other parts of the world as well. I actually got married to a Filipino. We met halfway, we met in the Emirates, and then she came back here. And then I've been teaching English to foreigners, German, some French. So I'm a real kind of dedicated linguist, and I love the German language, and French is great as well, but German is my main language because I've got reached a very high level in it. And so now I'm doing lots and lots of teaching, but I've done various types of teaching over the years. So what's next? Oh yeah, going back to Berlin in '89. I wasn't able to go on the 9th of August, but I went at New Year. And I stood on the wall in front of the Brandenburg Gate along with all the others. I witnessed it over many, many years. And I was there to actually witness the opening of the Berlin Wall. And I'll never forget stepping through a hole in the Berlin Wall next to the Brandenburg Gate, walking up to the Alexanderplatz and back again. And that, for me, that was a border had been opened up. And that was an incredible experience. So you can understand, you can see where I'm going to now, that the UK is imposing artificial new borders. There's no concrete, and there's no guns, and there's no Alsatians trying to bite you or anything on the border. It's a different type of thing. It's to do with visas, and it's to do with legality. When my wife came to England, she had a Filipino passport, and that was very interesting what he was saying earlier about the value of a passport, because if you come from many parts of the world, you can't really travel anywhere. You can't travel outside your own country unless you're working. That's the only way you can do it. So when she got her British passport, it was like it opened up a whole world. It meant, well, we don't have to get a visa to go to the States, and I don't have to get a visa to travel around Europe for each country like we used to do before she got it. So now she has got to renew her passport. We've got to put the application in January. And I'm kind of dreading the arrival of the horrible black Brexit passport. She's really kind of disappointed, because it seems like she had a huge improvement in her passport, and then suddenly it's all of that. It's a symbolic thing as well as a practice. It's not really practical because we're settled here. We're not going to move, but it's the fact that you can if you want to. We have a daughter, so she will have the Brexit passport when she renews it. Terrible. I've got the Irish passport. I'm lucky because we have a two-tier country now. We have those people with Irish ancestors, and a friend of mine, the sadly gone, the late C.P. Lee, who's a music historian in Manchester. He had got grandparents from Northern Ireland, and he was able to track it all down, and he got an Irish passport as well. So that's that's kind of, it's always been part of my identity, but this time it's also a practical benefit as well. I've not been able to use it yet. I only got it in January. It came through in February. My last trip abroad was to Germany in February, and that was on the British passport, the old British passport. So I don't feel especially sad. I feel angry. When I'm angry, that's when I'm motivated. Now, I've campaigned in the past. I've campaigned about conservation in Manchester. I've done lots of campaigning work about demolition of buildings. I never imagined that not only would the buildings in the city where I live, or close to where I live, would be under threat. Now the whole basis of the UK's relationship with the rest of Europe has been, the rug has been pulled out of it. So I'm now campaigning on a slightly different issue, but I'm still as determined as I was previously. But the way I'm doing it is through, as I've done in the past, I write and take photographs. So I've had my photographs published in quite a few books. I had quite an influential website. It was in the past. It's kind of in the past now. But it's about Manchester, eyewitness in Manchester, and campaigned a lot. So now I want to do the same thing through YouTube, because YouTube is the biggest search engine in the world. You can actually reach, you can have influence through YouTube in a way that it's not possible through other media. And I watch every day. I watch the YouTubers like A Different Bias and Maximilian Robespierre, and then recently discovered the guy in Germany. What's his name? Mark Wesseling, or Wesseling, not sure how to pronounce his name. So I'm looking at YouTubers every day, and I'm looking, well, I want to have that number of followers, and I want to have a positive influence. My YouTube channel is really about, it's about cities and journeys. I've narrowed it down to those topics because those are what I'm interested in. So I'm going to present educational, entertaining material with lots of photographs, lots of video clips, but the European message is kind of embedded subtly, because I don't want it to be polemical. I just want to attract a general audience, and it'll be, oh, and by the way, this is like I'm doing one about the Beatles. John Lennon's statue is in the new terminal. Oh, and by the way, the new terminal was partly paid for through European funding. And then I carry on like that, and I'll do that. Not some videos won't make any mention of the EU, because I want it to be just to paint a broad picture of a kind of international cities in the UK, cities in Ireland and in Europe and around the world, but include the pro-European message. So that's really this situation now has galvanized me to focusing on that goal. The goal is to build up the YouTube channel and gain influence like the brilliant YouTube commentators that I watch, the ones that I mentioned. So if you can give me a like, aidan.co.uk/AVZ. That's AIDAN/AVZ. That stands for Audiovisual Zine, AV Zine. And so I've just recently started it, and I'm building it up. And so I think that's it. I think I've made all the points. Yeah, I want influence. If I can get influence through my YouTube channel, then I can put across a pro-European message that will go out to a wide range of people. They will stumble on the pro-European message, and they will be confronted with it. They'll think, oh, that looks interesting about that. And then, oh, what, European funding paid for that as well? Oh my God, I never knew that. Or it'll be, well, you'll see. I don't need to say any more now. That's enough. Okay, thanks for listening.